didn't have to throw it away after. Yes, we started with our base and then we started decorating. We started with the pillows. So we were kind of asked to use this new fabric that was coming out. And so when I originally designed it, I designed just the 9-star pillow. I was super excited about it, and then I got feedback and they were like, US or Des that doesn't fit the profile. And so I was like, I don't know. So I was trying to brainstorm, and I came up with putting pom-poms on the end, pom-poms around the edge to make it a little more fresh.
And it works, right?
That was my solution. So the next thing we wanted to do was a bar cart. Super trendy right now. We wanted to do our own take on it. Carly came up with the idea to do a mimosa bar, and she made these cute little tags for the juices, which is the thought when we designed. We tried to have purpose behind it because it's kind of the worst when you go to a party, you're like, that's so cute, but I would never use that in real life. And so we thought functionality, be organized so you're not being constantly bombarded with questions from your guests at the party. So she did the cute, super cute tags. And then we came up with these, this is probably my favorite project in the whole scene, the pineapple vase. So we also needed to use a scoring wheel because it was being launched about the same time that this was coming out. So we have these incredible illustrators. Most of the projects that we do go through the illustration team first, and they come up with all the images that are put in Design Space. So Heather, she has like this crazy 3D mind, and we were like, hey, we want some kind of paper vase. And literally 30 minutes later, she came out with this concept.
She's incredible, ladies.
Yeah. So then I took the little straw topper, then I made these little straw toppers. You can take them out and you get their little drink mixers. So that was another way to use the scoring wheel. Some of the other projects we put on the bar cart, what are they called? Not koozies. Okay, we'll do koozies. That's on my mind right now. Okay, so then Carly came up with these koozies. It's a simple project. One of the reasons we went with it is because it starts out in this place, but then it's something that guests will take and then they'll carry it throughout. So that way you don't have to do decorations all through the rest of the party. It kind of gets dispersed throughout the night. Super cute project. And then, let's see, after that we kind of just wanted a few projects that met the needs of the profile. So they were really playful, so Megan came up with that Jenga, the Jenga game. So she used the same colors and the same, just tried to bring our little theme back. What am I trying to say?
Because every backyard party needs some games and fun, right? You're never too old for Jenga. You just aren't.
And the models at the photo shoot loved it. They were all about the Jenga.
It's true. So we designed this whole scene, and then we kind of ran into a problem. It looked amazing for photos, and then they said, okay, now you need a ticket, and you need to bring it to the Little America. And so we were like, okay, how do we bring outdoors, indoors? And so we thought, okay, let's just build this cool wall. We can put plants on it. It'll look kind of outdoorsy. Originally, we had a big umbrella that would have covered most of the wall, so that was our original idea. And then about a week ago, I actually went out of town, and I got a text from Carly, and she goes, Des, the umbrella doesn't fit. So
we came up with that great planter wall. Look at that. That was inspired by one of you bloggers, and we recreated it here.
So that's a lot of what our job is mostly problem solving. We come up with our designs, and then it's issue after issue after issue, and then somehow we come up with something beautiful.
I know we shouldn't have favorites, but that scene is my favorite one. I think it's so fun and bright and beautiful. But the closet over here, isn't this a dream closet, crafters? Oh my gosh. Our New York City gal would actually agree with you. We needed something functional and trendy and beautiful, and so this is what we came up with. How many of you guys use your Cricut to organize with? Yeah? What have you done? What's a project that you organized?
Here we go.
Yeah, so that's awesome. So she used it in her craft room to organize her different bins and boxes. You can do that in your closet, and that's what this girl did. And I think it's beautiful. But I bet you didn't know that 95% of the things that you see in there have actually been touched by the Cricut maker. Those are Cricut projects, what you see in there. And that was a really, really fun, exciting thing for me. So I went to fashion school. That's where my background is in, is fashion design. And so every great fashionista knows that a great outfit comes with great shoes. So for me, the star of the show are the shoes. And this was a challenging project for me. Originally, I was only asked to make 2 or 3 shoes because we were on a really tight timeline. We had a week, less than a week, to create that entire thing. And that's a big undertaking. So as I was out shopping, getting inspiration for these shoes, I couldn't just stop with 2. I had to make all 8 of those. I couldn't give it up. The first one that I started with was what our team has lovingly nicknamed the mustache shoes. Can you see it? So I was inspired by a shoe that I saw that Michael Kors had made. It was over $300 and I can't afford that. So I decided to craft it and create something all on my own. Cricut has this great product called faux suede. Gives great texture, and that's what I made this fringe out of. My dad loves these shoes. He can't wait to see me wear them. I'm just kidding.
He's shaking his head no down there.
The next shoe that I want to talk about is actually what I call the fabulous pumps. Each of us have that classic black heel in our closet, but to kind of revamp that style, I went for this trend that's going on right now, the embroidery that's on everything, that floral embroidery. But like I mentioned before, I was running out of time. It was the last day, the deadline was here, and I had to make it. And so rather than hand stitch every petal on there, I used Cricut felt. That is layered felt and iron-on, ladies. How classy does that look? Right? I was very surprised, and I am so pleased with how that turned out. There are other shoes in there that were hand embroidered, so it is definitely a really fun technique to do. So go and look at those shoes after. The last shoes I'm going to talk about are the tassel shoes. These were actually my first shoes that I created, and it kind of launched everything. The thing that I love the most about these shoes is the little detail on the tassel. It's our gold foil iron-on, and it just finished the project. At first I didn't have that on there, and I just felt like something was missing. And our team decided, why don't we make it look like it was dipped in gold? And that made all the difference in the world for those shoes. So it doesn't just stop with the shoes. It continues with our accessories. So we all know that Carly is really great with tools, and so she's really great with leather. She took on the challenge of creating these watches for us. She did a phenomenal job, and I'm so impressed with her ambition to create these things. Who knew that you could make your own watch bands? Carly knew. To go along with the watches, we also created lots of jewelry. Desi was very creative. A lot of us use, when we use paper crafts, we stick with paper. When we want to use fabric, we use fabric. But with these, we kind of broke the barrier. These earrings are made out of acetate. Acetate is what you put in cards, but Desi decided to make them earrings. So be daring with your design choices. It's so fun and exciting to get outside of your comfort zone. So getting to know you ladies throughout this conference, there's one thing that I've learned. You are sassy ladies, and you are not ashamed of it, and I love that. And so we give you sass with our t-shirts. Each phrase on these t-shirts has a little bit of a personality, and we're really excited about them. One way that you can spice things up is to, rather than have the words go across your shirt, which is typical, put it inside a pocket. I really thought that was such a fun little idea that we did, and
It says
I like that phrase.
dead literally.
Really cute with the young generation, right? All right, the next shirt we're going to talk about is actually the gray shirt that says "Stay Weird." Carly made this shirt, which is very fitting for her, as you well know. But to just spice it up a little bit, she flipped the words upside down. Be creative. It's awesome. And then the last shirt actually was inspired by Tiffany, who we all know and love. I, once again, was running out of time, and I was running out of ideas. And so I was telling Tiffany this, and she's like, well, why don't you try black glitter iron-on a black t-shirt? And I looked at her and I was like, I'm not so sure that's gonna work. You don't usually layer colors on color. But as you can see, it was a beautiful combination, and I'm so grateful for that. Yeah, there you go.
As you can see, you don't usually layer color on color because you're not a crafter and you don't know better.
Tiffany knows more than she thinks she knows. And there you have it. This is our New York City Girl closet.
Okay, now we're going to move on to the wedding scene. I'm excited to tell you about this one because I bet you guys will relate. So first we came up with our profile. We came up with a mid-age or middle 20s romantic and love couple. They wanted to be very elegant and they wanted to be very trendy and use bold colors. So we came up with that, and then we got a request. Raise your hand if you craft for people other than yourself. Okay. Let's see, how many of you designed for something you hated? So they asked us to use the Pantone color of the year. And it's a great color, but when it first came out, all three of us were like, what? Like, that was what they chose this year? And then none of us could really figure out how we would make this into a classy wedding, because usually, and I'm not saying it's not possible, just like our minds at that point, we were like, purple isn't it? And so we were really struggling with it, and then Carly did some research, and she found these really cool agate coasters. If you want to switch to the video. And they just happened to be the perfect color, and we were like, oh my gosh. And then, so they got shipped here, and she decided to use foil iron-on them, which is a little different for iron-on, and that foil iron-on is amazing. So she put that on there, and that was a turning point for us. We're like, okay, we can make a really classy purple wedding. It's gonna be awesome. So yeah, we started with that, and then usually like while we're designing, we'll pick a few themes and we'll just carry it out over and over so it looks cohesive. You'll either do that with colors or textures. With this one, we mostly did, we did shapes. So if you look at the tablescape and you look down, you've got your circle in your I don't know, the last layer. It goes underneath the plate. That's what I'm trying to think of.
Charger,
Okay.
yeah.
And your charger, then you got your plate, and it's just circle after circle after circle. We were really strategic with the wine glasses that we chose, so it still was like the same roundness. And then with the copper mugs. Normally I wouldn't put a copper mug in there, but we thought to make the purple work, we wanted to use a lot of mixed metals. And then we did the same thing with the geometric shapes. So we had the request to bring in a knife blade. So we cut out chipboard and we made the geometric, I don't know what they're called, terrarium shapes. And I think this is where we bring out our secret weapon. My secret weapon for crafting is gold spray paint. It makes everything look way more elegant, brings it up a couple notches. And then we also used the scoring wheel on the acetate. I wasn't super sold on the scoring wheel. When it first came out, I was like, we have the scoring stylus, we're fine. But then when Heather, our amazing 3D designer, came up with those acetate gems, I was like, okay, this is why everyone needs one, because this is amazing. Yeah, so we came up with those geometric shapes, and then we brought in just some more textures. We brought in the crepe paper flowers, used as the rotary blade, and then the little wine charms. So now I'm going to tell you about our big crafting fail on this one. And that's the menus. Those menus look amazing, right?
Yeah.
So, let me tell you about the process of making this amazing menu. So our original idea was we just wanted an acetate sheet with words on it. Super cute, trending right now. And so we cut out vinyl, and we realized the vinyl can't cut that small. So then we thought, let's adjust it a little bit. Let's use iron-on, put it on the acetate, melt it.
It's plastic.
It's plastic.
You'd think we would have figured that out.
So our next idea was to print on those sheets that you use like in school that project. Transfers. So we printed those out, and then we're like, well, we don't want it all to be the same color. So we like cut out strategically pieces of paper to cover the black words, and then we put it through Heidi Swap Meek. And then it was so much work. And then we realized we couldn't stick it to one piece of acetate, so we needed two. But how could we stick two together? So we had to get the brads on the sides. It legitimately took like 2 days, which doesn't sound like that much time, but it put it in perspective, we could have made 12 projects in that time. So that is our crafting fail, but that is our job to figure out those fails so that your projects are easier. Is there anything else on this one? Oh, yes. So another cool thing about this is don't be afraid to refresh your projects. This one started out as a wedding tablescape. Then we updated it for marketing purposes, and we changed it to a wine and cheese party, so we added a bunch of stuff. And then now we made it just to a nice dinner tablescape. If I were to, and then it would be sad just to have it be done there. So I think the next thing I would do is take all those purple flowers, probably get black paint, splash it over it, and then I'd put it and make a Halloween wreath. And let's see, I think that's it for that. Let's move on to the toddler room.
Awesome, thank you. I love that wedding scene. But as you guys know, I also have a special place for Africa. So I want to introduce to you our little friend here. Her name is Quinn, and this is her room. Quinn loves to go on adventures. She does that through reading. And so you'll see throughout here that her adventure time is her world. To me, it all started with this quilt that you see on the bed. But before it became a quilt, it was actually paper projects. We had a competition in New York City back in the fall, and there was a fashion student that had created all of these cute little animals. And so as you see that elephant up on our cork board, that's what she created, and she did a beautiful job. But we wanted to show what else you could do with it. So we turned a paper craft into a fabric craft. And Desi is our quilt designer, and she actually is a first time, this is the first quilt she ever made, let alone designed, right? Quilting is a whole different art form, and she took it and ran with it. I have a lot of respect
for quilters now.
So thank you all you quilters, right? So this quilt really did set the stage for it. And speaking of the elephants, when you guys were looking at this room, do you know how many elephants we put in that room? Just throw out a number, guess. How many numbers?
12.
Wow. Okay, this is only 8 by 10 feet. Hopefully we didn't put 18 in there. You're close. There are 5 elephants in that room. So in the 18 and a half months that I lived in Africa, I didn't see a single elephant. There are hundreds of thousands of elephants in Africa. So when I came back, I made sure there were a lot of elephants in that room. So that's another really cool thing that you can do as designers. You repeat patterns. We do that quite often. You'll see that there's a leaf pillow on the bed there, as well as a stool. It started as a picture frame, but that stool has a really fun story. Carly made that stool, and have any of you guys ever used epoxy? Yeah, it's a great tool. It's a great thing to use. However, if you don't know what you're doing, it can be a little bit hazardous, as we found out. So Carly, the first time she used this material, it had started to dry, and she wasn't done using it yet. So you know what she did? She put it in the microwave. Yeah.
Like, not my proudest moment, okay?
What was that?
Not my proudest moment.
Yeah. To be fair, it was really late. We've all been there where we're trying to get a project done and it's really late at night and we make really poor choices. Despite all of the chemicals that were in her house at that point, she did survive, and we're so grateful that she lived to tell the tale. We really enjoyed that. My favorite piece in that room is actually the little guy on that bed. He's a zebra. Yeah, so this is Quinn's best friend, but Quinn doesn't have a name for this little guy. What would you name this zebra?
Zippy.
Stripes. Stripes? Zippy! Oh, I like that. Okay, so now this zebra is gonna be Zippy the zebra. So thank you, because I'm not very good at naming animals. But this was a really fun project, because if you see on the quilt, it was a flat image. Very flat, 2D dimensional, and yet I created it, and I made it a stuffy, so it became a 3-dimensional thing. With every single image in Design Space, you can do this. You can make it however you want. I also added tassels because I don't know if you could tell with the fashion scene, but I love tassels. Tassels should be on everything, especially a zebra's mane. They're fantastic. The next projects I want to talk about are actually what's hanging up on the wall. We have a great girl that designed some really fun sewing projects for you, and you'll find this dress in Design Space. So this is a really, it looks a little bit complicated, but it's actually pretty simple. It should take you between 3, maybe 5 hours, you know, depending on how fast you sew. However, this dress took me 10 hours. You wanna know why? Because I made the gray fabric. I was stuck, you can buy that fabric. Don't make that fabric on your own, because you can buy it. It's a technique called Spanish pin tucking, and I was set on having a texture on the gray fabric, and I just spent 5 hours creating that fabric. Totally, if you didn't understand that through the menu thing, I just kind of get stuck on something and I just have to see it through, even if there's an easier option. So don't do as I say, not as I do. Don't spend all your time on that. The next project is the backpack. I love this backpack. It's so cute and it's perfect for a little girl. The fun thing about these pockets on the side is you can customize them however you want. I chose to make one side a water bottle and the next side some pencil things. And you, in the instructions that you'll find on the Design Space, you can customize those however you want. So be creative and just run with where your heart desires. Something else that's really cool in there are the chipboard animals. Okay, those chipboard animals look like they were store-bought. That's the highest compliment that we could receive as crafters. And those were done by Carly, and I'm so impressed with everything that she has created. So even though I can't personally live in Africa all the time, I'm so grateful that I get to bring a little piece of my heart here with you.
All right, Carly, you want to come back up? So, we just wanted to give you a little glimpse into what a day in the life of a professional crafter, and this is it.